he's like he's almost 80. I think he's got about a year to be 80. So I got an old dad.
Yeah.
I'm only in my mid 30s. So, um, and they, I was my dad was kind of eat, sleep, eat, drink, sleep, baseball, or whatever that saying is. And
Yeah, yeah.
so I played baseball when I was a kid, and then I was terrible, dude. I was so bad at pretty much every sport I played. Except roller hockey. I think I did all right with roller hockey, um,
Where's this
so
at? Where are you living at this point?
I was born in Tampa, Florida. hmm
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm, uh, not really a beach guy, but I was born and raised on the in that area, so on the coast. But yeah, so I play a lot of baseball and stuff, and then I was terrible at it. So my mom was like, "All right, well, it seems like he is musically inclined, so she's probably the reason I was able to get into music because my dad was like, he didn't know what was it's like. So I
Which
ended up
sorry,
go ahead.
what you I was gonna ask, I was a music guy myself,
hmm
basically from about 6th grade on,
hmm
played, what got you started in it? Was it what instrument did you start with, and what was that? Just picking up a guitar or
Yeah, I mean, I was probably about 7 or 8 on the piano, and then I was playing that, and my mom noticed that I was playing things by, like ear, like hearing
Oh, yeah.
songs and playing them, and she's like, "All right, well, we're gonna do this then." So I got a guitar when I was in 4th grade. It was a Yamaha classical guitar. I had lessons. The most effective way, was I had this guy like come over once a week. I think his name was John, and he would come over and just play like 12 bar blues scales, and then he would or sorry, 12 bar blues, and then he would like teach me all the scales, and started with like pentatonic and things like that. And so I learned to like jam, 5th, 6th grade. And then I swear to God, there was like it's like a black hole. I don't remember getting from being bad at guitar to like decent and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I
my
think
dad bought me.
that's a
I don't
weird,
remember.
it's a weird like, I remember when I started, and then I remember when I knew things. You don't
Yeah.
remember you remember it sucked in the middle because 'cause you're like,
Yeah.
"I am terrible at this."
hmm
Then you hit a point where you're like, "Oh, I kinda get it now." And
Yeah.
kinda blurry in between though, yeah. Your
Yeah,
dad got you what?
your brain at that age is so like malleable, you know what I mean?
What and then you
So
said your dad got you what though?
he got me it was an Epiphone, like an Epiphone Les Paul standard. Like it looks like Jimmy Page's guitar that he used to play all the time.
Mm.
Sunburst when I was in 5th grade. And so I started playing with that. And then, 6th grade, um, so it was mainly middle school for me. And my mom put me in front of music. I actually still have that guitar over
Nice.
20 years later. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's really good.
crazy.
Yeah.
I got to fix it up a bit. It was stolen, I think, when I was in high school, and um, they broke into the studio that I was playing at, and got blood all over it. I left the blood on there. I won't wash it off. I think it's
Hell
kind of
yeah.
metal.
Yeah, this is fucking sick. I
Yeah.
was wondering that with, I see I think the most famous one, I can't remember the name of it, but it's Willie Nelson's guitar. It's old as hell. And
Yeah.
can you keep a guitar running, or is it going to hit a point where it'll run out? Or
I think you can keep them going. You just have to, I think there are these like guitar gurus out there, man. These like technician people that can really, like for example, Billy Strings when he took his guitar, he used to check it he would check his guitar in a case, and TSA like shattered it. It was the one I can't remember the
oh
model
my
of
god,
the guitar that he played a lot, but I remember seeing him in February of like last year when he got the guitar back, and man, that thing was smashed. I didn't know if that would be reparable, like looking at it, right? And yeah, no, he got somebody to fix it up, and he was playing it. That was the first I saw him the first show where he was playing it again. So he was stoked. So that's an example. Like if people probably, I don't know, who watched the show, they might be familiar with, when his guitar got completely smashed. So yeah, so I think people can even acoustics, right? They can repair them. So yeah, I'm not too like smart with that. Could probably replace like certain parts, right? Like pickups and tuning knobs and all that sorts of stuff, but I don't think I can solder. I look
Yeah,
like I should be able to solder, but you know what I mean?
yeah,
Fuck it, I'd
I know
mess it
exactly.
up.
I know
Yeah,
exactly. What you mean.
I would mess it up. So, but yeah, middle school. Yeah. So
Yeah. And uh so you get that, you get this I guess that was like a big upgrade for you from the Yamaha, right? So
yeah,
did that feel this is kind of getting a little deeper in the weeds, but did it feel good to have your dad kind of like support that at that point when he was like pushing for baseball and stuff, and then he's finally supporting your music stuff? Or
yeah, totally. He was the one who bought me that guitar and a Vox, a little Vox amplifier. I can't remember the model. I don't have it anymore. But yeah, it did actually feel pretty good. My parents got divorced when I was in middle school, and the there was a kind of a bit of a what happens in divorce when people, kids are weaponized against, one parent or what have, and that was my dad. I was kind of weaponized against him, right? So as I got older, the sentiment of him buying that for me was, is important because that really kicked things off. I remember, I'll never forget when he was in high school, or I might have been in eighth grade, and we were playing a show at a venue called Crowbar, and he showed up, and we're all wearing eyeliner. He was just sitting at the bar, like, "All right, man." Like, he was fucking there though. I
this
mean,
is
there's like,
there, yeah, hell yeah.
yeah, but yeah,
It's so funny, I feel like every a lot of guys have that feeling of like your dad shows up and you're doing something batshit crazy that is wild, and then he shows up, you're like, oh
yeah. I
fuck,
didn't think he would.
oh
I didn't
fuck,
think he would go.
yeah.
Closeted eyeliner wearing dude. Yeah.
Oh, so you started playing shows though in I guess this is high school you're starting to play or middle school?
Yeah, I had a guitar recital when I was in fifth grade, and then I got into bands when I was in seventh grade.
Damn.
So in seventh, I was about 13. When we played like school dances. Like, so the band was made up of um, two friends of mine that actually went to, I believe, no, they went to the same middle school, and I went to a different one. So we played, school dance there, and then the school dance there, and um, things like that. And those are big crowds because I mean it's a school dance. I mean those,
Yes, everybody's got to come. Yeah.
yeah, they were big. Yeah, public school
That's good for the
dances.
ego, though. That's good for a young guy that's starting out to build up that like confidence and stuff, playing in front
Hmm.
of that many people.
Yeah, totally. You get sometimes nobody shows up, and sometimes there's a ton of people. When I got into high school, I played in so many different types of bands, like ska bands, uh, post-hardcore bands, cover bands where we would play. But I was in and out of pubs, like when I was young, like bars and nightclubs. Even I was underage. I was under 18, and
When we were, you said you're mid 30s. I'm mid 30s too.
mhm.
Probably a little, just a little younger, but I feel like we were the last generation where you could do that. Where they were letting kids in bars and nobody was really batting an eyelash too much because like
Yeah,
either your parents were there or you just wanted to hang out or whatever. And that's
yeah.
kind
It's
of a
kind of
wild
odd
sport. Yeah.
kind of weird when I look back on it. You know what I mean? Playing
Yeah,
these
I mean,
bars that
well,
I'd go to after
hindsight, yeah.
21, and like after 21, I'm looking around and I'm like, what the? I played here like 10, however many years ago.
Yeah.
We played I will never forget this. I played in a band. I was like a junior in high school, and we booked a show. I think it's called the Lion's Den, and it was a there was a stripper pole on stage. It was a strip club, dude. So we're all like 17, 16, 17, 18, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us were 18 at that time. And we
Who
played a
books
show
that?
there. Yeah, called the Lion's Den. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah,
That's
you're right. I look back on that and I'm just like, how the hell did that happen? You know?
yeah. That's awesome though. That's a good uh you you don't build calluses and get good by just swinging it through, man. Doing
Yeah.
that kind of shit, I'm sure helped build some kind of like, you know, uh ability to perform.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's another band I was in, just for example, um, we kind of my trend, unfortunately, with typically what I get into is I go hard and then I get bored, you know.
Yeah.
So a lot of the bands I was in, we would go really hard and like blah 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 work a lot, and then I'd be like, all right, I'm done with this shit. I'm on to the next thing, and it's not really a good quality because you need to be consistent, right? Um, but yeah, I remember I was 17 and this band. We were doing really well. 2 months in, we did like the radio station. I think it was 97X, like 97.1 or whatever. They did in Tampa. They did they were like vote for the best band to play backyard barbecue. So it was like opening for like the Almost, Spill Canvas, like all these, you know, they were big at the time. And we won that,
Oh,
and I
dope.
got to play that crowd, and I'll never forget. I'll never forget that because it was like that was a lot of people. Like
Yeah.
that was like a almost like a it's like a festival type thing.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, that's a lot of people. And I ran out on stage being 17, and everybody's like the crowd. You can actually feel it.
Like
Nobody
the
prepared me
glare.
for that. That was
Yeah.
the biggest crowd I had played, and I was like, damn, this is wild. Um, uh, and then it's probably why Tom Brady, got ruined his marriage and went back to playing football because he was probably going out every time and like just a feeling like the dopamine rush of like being on there. I'm not fucking Tom Brady, but
No, but
the closest empathy, I can
yeah.
empathize with him.
No, that's so much to take on because I've never been in front of crowds that big, but I've definitely been in front of having to perform or do things in front of
Hmm.
people. And it is just off of 100 to 200 people. The glare of everyone wanting you to perform or do something is,
Hmm.
you can't even describe it to people. It's such anxiety and anticipation. But it's like,
Yeah,
it's kind of like a good feeling too. But it's like, well, fuck, I don't want to fuck it up. But like, you're like, hell yeah. Yeah, crazy.
it
You
is.
what music were you playing at that point? You said it was kinda all over. Did you ever stick to, like, one particular thing, or was it just kinda whatever the band was at that time?
Uh, yeah, I mean, it would probably be mainly like a lot of those like screamo, like post-hardcore band type things that I would probably stick around more. Being in Tampa, there wasn't really country music. Like it was like mainly, yeah, it wasn't like what we're seeing today. But so all that influence comes from my grandparents and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so I mean, yeah,
Yeah, it's, you go through high school, you're doing all this music and stuff. Do you have plans? Is that what you plan on doing when you get out of high school? You're like, "I'm gonna be a musician, that's my goal," or did you have other plans?
so I always had this like battle between. I started to get nervous like towards my junior year because I was like, I always got, I got good grades. I think I had like a 5.5 GPA from the public school I went to because you like layer on all the advanced placement classes, and I like fucking right at the end layered them on to make sure I got in college. But I was doing that, and then I was also, when I look back on it, I was also like playing Club Piranha and like club like up until like 2 in the morning, and then I'd wake up for school, have to, drive other kids to school in the neighborhood, and be
Jeez.
like, "What the fuck is going?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right as I turned 18, and so I was kind of like I've always battled. I was battling between um, science, mainly biology and music, right? And when I get bored of one, I go to the other, right? When I get bored of that, I go to the other, and I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Um, so yeah, I ended up kind of it always was a part of everything because when I got into like University of Central Florida. I mean, they let anybody in with a pulse and a GPA. So at that time, and I got in there, and then um, met my friend Jeremy Bambury, who I've played with. He's a drummer, and I've played with him, and also he plays everything else. But I played. He was my roommate, and we found each other, and I mean, we've been friends for yeah, like 16 years now, I think.
Damn.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean, when I got to college, I was like supposed to be focusing on class and stuff like that. But dude, I started bands, with Jeremy and like other people, and you know, we were playing shows. So then at that point, I got into like, I bought like a Fender Twin Reverb, a I think I spent every dollar I had on that amp too. And I had a Telecaster from high school, and stuff like that. So I really started to get into like surf. It was our surf music was big like in high school and stuff like that. But um, I started to get into that, and then I started to get kind of weird with like a math rock type thing with the surf music, and then um, played in a band like that, and then we went on tour.
Oh,
We didn't make it past New York. New York broke us.
just
New
too
York
tough,
broke.
or wasn't
Well,
it
we
too
got robbed.
Oh my god.
And my pedal board got stolen. Dude, I've lost like 3 pedal boards over
Why
my
do
pedal
people
boards.
steal music shit? Why did is it just you
Well,
can pawn it quick or what? Like,
yeah, if you have um we had Florida plates and a U-Haul. We couldn't get a van at that time, so we had to attach to like a Mazda. It was so ridiculous. And I guess they broke in to the Mazda, and then I left my pedal board in there, and so they just grabbed whatever in there. Um yeah, I remember sleeping because the car we couldn't get a new window. I was like I told everybody I'm like we were in Lower Manhattan, I think, and I think it was Lower Manhattan, and I parked and just I had a bottle of like Evan Williams, and I just drank that all night. I think I drank an entire bottle, and to stay warm. And yeah, we were all fuck. We were done with New York. We went immediately back to the singer, my other singers, or the girl that used to sing in the band. We went to her family's house in Brick, New Jersey. I mean, anything better than being in New York at that point. We were sick. It was playing a show without your pedal board and your gear. It sucks, dude.
yeah.
It's tough. It's not, so, not where you're used to and stuff. So,
And then you're trying to justify everything of like I'm gonna get I'm making progress slowly. I'm playing in New York now, and then that happens, and that's got to be such just a crazy setback. Or I would
yeah.
imagine.
I think at that point I got burnt out because if I look back, I met my ex-wife shortly. It was in that time we opened for that surf math whatever band you want to call it. Um, we
What
opened
music would you
for
define? Sorry, I heard that twice now. What's math rock?
well, I mean like it's kind of like technical. Like you could almost consider like Fall of Troy. I know another big band is one that I like really right now is called Fruit Salad something. No. Something like that.
Yeah.
Damn, I should. Why can't I remember this right now? Um, and it's just like time signature changes that are abrupt.
Oh, okay. Just a bunch of chaos not controlled chaos going on.
Yeah,
A lot
like a
of
lot of
changes.
tapping and
Yeah,
time
yeah.
within. Yeah, a lot of tapping and, but mainly, time singer. It's almost like prog rock, kind of. It's like an evolution of that. But I know Maps and Atlases is another one. I think that they consider to be math, right? But if you listen to them, it's mainly like, you know, taking the guys singing, and then you have like, you know you're going like, whenever you're whatever. That's a
Yeah, no, I
that's
get
a
it, yeah.
horrible explanation,
I know
but
what you're talking about. No, for those that are listening and don't know music, this is probably sounds like nonsensical bullshit. But for anyone that's played music for at least a year or two, what you're saying
yeah.
makes sense and stuff. I get it.
My drummer was and I he introduced me to Hella. I think the drummer for that is like, I think his name's Zach Hill, but he introduced me to Hella, and he was a big fan of Hella. And when I started to listen to them, they're considered like a math band. And when I started to listen to them, um, I was like, dude, this is wild. So we ended up taking like very melodic things and then like putting simple lyrics over it, but the music was, weird. It would be
Yeah.
kind of like just a lot of, so yeah. So that was early 20s. We opened for, it was, I don't know how my friend got the show. It was right as Mac DeMarco was popping off, and we opened for him and Vacationer. Um, and that's where I had met my ex-wife. And I feel like ever since then it was just like this slow, over my 20s, like, getting a corporate job, getting finishing my bachelor's, because I dropped out.
Yeah.
I dropped out in college to do the music thing because I was like, I get bored. I was like,
Yeah,
whatever.
no, dude. I did not. I flunked out of college. I was just like, fuck. And I get it though. Your mind sometimes you can stay focused on shit only for so long, and then you're just like, I am so tired of this shit. On to the next one. I'll
You're
find something
done.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, you're done. So
Yeah.
that's unfortunately how my brain worked.
Yeah, but yeah, that's okay. Dude, there's so many people like this though. Like I think a big thing about hearing all the people tell this stuff is um life doesn't go perfectly like that. Not
Yeah.
like I wouldn't say 90, but I'd say 70 to 80% of people. It's not like I did good in high school. I went to college for 4 years, got my degree. I got a
Hmm.
very successful job. I have a wife and kids now and lead it. Like most of America doesn't work that way. So
Hmm. Yeah,
I get it.
I agree.
So
You got to
you're in your
fumble.
20s. Yeah. You're you're in your 20s, you meet your wife, you said you get a corporate gig. What are you doing there?
I think, dude, I worked for like Allstate Roadside. That was my first full time job. And up until recently, I had been working full time my whole 20s, 30s, or whatever. And I get a job like that, right? But yeah, I worked for my first big boy, not big boy job. It was just an entry. It was a call center, right? And so I'll never forget, like, and I was trying to find odd jobs at that point. Like, I was like, I don't know how this works. Like, nobody explains it to you, right? Even though you have family and friends, like, they say it, and you're like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Um, it didn't to me, at least. I
Yeah.
wasn't that smart. And so, yeah, I would do odd jobs, like Craigslist jobs. Dude, those are wild. If you're ever like, I want to have an adventure, do some Craigslist
Hop on
jobs,
Craigslist,
dude.
yeah.
You'll be
I
selling
haven't been on there in
speakers.
forever. I heard it's so sketch like
Dude, it's
it
so crazy. And that's for another time. That story is so crazy. I had one that was just like, what the hell just happened for the whole day? So I worked for roadside assistance, and then I got promoted. I kept getting promoted to like, it was like 21, 22, and I kept getting promoted to like a person that deals with angry people, because I guess I had a high tolerance for bullshit, although I probably internalize it. Um, so I ended up dealing with like, for example, when you hit the OnStar button and you need roadside assistance and you are just losing your mind. You're either screaming at the person, or you're, threatening a lawsuit, or you're you're in the literally the middle of nowhere. I mean, you can't negotiate with any companies to get somebody out there. So I was the guy that the representative would be like, I'm going to put it to this guy to deal with an irate person, right? So every call that came in was somebody pissed off. So they got pretty good at like de-escalation, um, at least from a work standpoint. My personal life, it's another story. You're like two different people. But yeah, I got okay with de-escalation, and then while I was doing that, I finished my bachelor's degree at University of South Florida in St. Petersburg, in
Oh,
Florida.
nice.
Yeah, and that's when I lived in St. Petersburg. So
I've been
um,
that's I've only been to Florida twice, and I've been to St. Pete's. I went there for a week. It's really nice down there. I like it. The beach
yeah,
is
it's just
fun.
hot as fuck, dude.
Yeah, it's very, very hot. We
So
went in
hot,
May, and it was like, oh my god.
dude. Yeah. So I then I left Allstate, and then I get a job at a large molecule like bioanalytical lab, which is like they support the pharmaceutical industry and stuff like that. And it was just because like I had family friends that were able to help network and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah, so my close family, and so I got the job, finished my bachelor's, and then I just did all that, and then again I got promoted to like principal investigator, which is like senior scientist that has to like review all the data and reports and all that and deal with the clients. So you're the client guy. You talk to all the pharma companies and deal with their head, whoever's managing the bioanalysis there. And so then I got sick of that, and I was in my garage. I was just like pissed off, and it's so hot in Florida. And I was like applying to jobs, and I think I was just over it. It wasn't a bad company. It was just I was overdoing that, and I think I was like pretty hammered when I applied for my master's degree. I remember being like telling my ex-wife, I'm like, "Yo, I'm just gonna see if it works, man." And it fucking did, and then I was like, oh, "Okay, well," and that was at University of Florida. So, but they had a remote program that I was able to finish. So,
Oh, okay.
for molecular biology and biochemistry, micromolecular biology and biochemistry. So,
So you're sick of the science job, and you double down on the degree doing that
yeah,
stuff. Did you enjoy that process though? Like going to like going back to school, doing all that, and then coming out of it, trying to find a job with that. Like, how was that?
yeah, I actually like school, and if I get the opportunity, I'd get my PhD, if I could. Um, it's just so hard. They pay you a stipend, but yeah, I liked the balance of I'd get bored, and on the outside of like doing, uh, I'd read like a lot, mainly like astrophysics and like physics in general, books. Brian Greene, uh, all these people. And then I would also read like naturalism books, like, about trees. Love trees, dude. Trees are sick. I'm a big
Trees are
mushroom
sick.
guy. Yeah. Mushroom foraging, all that shit. You can check that off on the Colorado, um,
I,
stereotypical Colorado person.
no, no, no. I'm from Missouri, man, and I like. There's nothing more beautiful than like just walking through the woods. Like I like to hunt, but even just
Mhm,
part of the glory of it is sitting out there with all this just nature around you, and
mhm.
start getting your thoughts, and you're like, "Damn, this tree's been here probably hundreds of years. Like
Bro, trees are crazy, bro.
it's shit, and it
Trees
knows."
are wild. They like
We can go
talk to
real
each
deep
other
on
and
all that
shit.
shit. Yeah, like the mushroom stuff. That shit's crazy. All that. I mean, that's a cool rabbit hole for
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So, yeah. Yeah, my first kid was born, and then I moved the family to Colorado, and then, you know,
What
that
made
was
you
it.
pick Colorado?
I had always been trying to get to Colorado. So I traveled a lot. And, like you do in your 20s when you have a full-time job and you have paid time off, and, you plan a vacation, so I went everywhere. It's funny, I didn't travel a lot to Colorado at that. Well, actually, no, I did. sorry, scratch that. I just didn't do any long vacations, but I used to come out here when I was a kid. I remember we went skiing like one time. They were able to convince my dad to go skiing or something. And so I come out here, and I'm family friends with Paul Gruber. He was the left tackle for the Buccaneers, Tampa Bay
Oh,
Buccaneers, and they live in they. Well, sorry, I'm not going to tell you where they live, but they live in Colorado, um, and so I would come out. I came out here with my mom and stayed with them, just you know, doing Colorado shit over the summer.
yeah.
So I come out here for like sometimes we come out here for the summer or whatever. You know, maybe once or twice. I don't remember how often. And I was like, at you as a kid, I remember shooting a 22 with a friend of mine, prairie dogs, because they're a nuisance and they dig little underground tunnels. So I remember shooting prairie dogs and putting them in badger holes. That's what he wanted us to do. And just
That's
whatever.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, dude, it's Florida. We went hunting for squirrels. I don't know if you've ever eaten a squirrel, but
Oh
God,
yeah.
dude,
It's like
yeah,
it's like a tough ass chicken. I don't what's the best way I can
dude,
describe it.
it's all dark, just all
It's
dark
all
meat.
dark and it's like
No,
you gotta baste it in milk or some I mean it's
some,
it's
yeah,
a great one. Uh I've been out I lived in Colorado for a little over a year. It's beautiful. And
yeah.
where can you tell me at least where at? Are you in like south or east or central?
I'm outside of, uh, live south, on the Front Range, where, um, like Colorado Springs is, but like
Oh,
west
okay.
of there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you know
West of there.
oh west of there. Okay. Do you know Canyon City by chance?
Yeah, I've been
Yeah,
there a bunch. Yeah.
that's where I lived at for
Oh, nice. See the prison, the prison. See the
yeah,
prison,
yeah. It's three fucking prisons.
dude. There's three fucking prisons, and what's another funny thing is like a buddy of mine. They have some good hot springs down there, though. Desert Reef's pretty cool.
I never been to
Um,
those. They're nice.
that's in Penrose, I think, but that's right outside of
Well, it's
Canyon
right out.
City.
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah.
No, I was gonna talk about the prisons. Mad ADD, bro. Sorry.
No, it's dude. I played on a. I'm only there for a little bit. I was trying to find shit to do, and it was COVID, so there was a softball team that was playing, and it was like three or like four of the guys were prison guards,
Yeah,
and
dude.
they're just
That's the
talking about
economy.
yeah, and they're just talking about all the shit they do there, and I'm like, oh my god, this is fucked. Why are we living here?
Everybody works for the prison, dude. Um, But no, there's a prison museum there, and a buddy of mine, when he came out, when we first moved out here, he took his kid. He's like, "Let's go to the prison museum," and they're like 3 and 5 or 2 and 4. I don't remember how old they were. The time they were young, they were like almost toddlers, or they were toddlers. And he took him to the prison museum, and it's just like, dude, it's so dark. All the execution style, all that
Yeah.
stuff, and he's like, "Fuck, maybe this wasn't a good idea." Um, Dude, they have a thing there. What's so crazy is they have at the prison museum. There's a one time there was a tour at the prison museum, and dude, there were two dudes that escaped the prison, like legitimately escaped the prison, and they were running where the tour was, and the
Oh,
tour thought it was a part of like the fucking tour.
oh, this
They're
is
like,
cool, kids.
no, that's
Look,
an
there's our
actual
escaped
prison.
prisoner.
Those people actually busted out of prison. So yeah,
Oh,
it's just,
that's funny.
little Canyon City facts there.
Yeah, yeah. But to the other side, it's beautiful out there, and it's a great place to live. Uh,
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, I know. We were talking about Canyon City. I mean, in Colorado, like, yeah, people have their opinions of certain places, and I like Canyon. I mean, I don't mind Canyon City. There's
I
less
think Denver
people, which
mostly
is
gets
great.
the shit now, and Colorado. Well, I'm military, so Colorado Springs kind of gets shit on in my community
Hmm.
just because it's a little rough sometimes, and there's way too many military there.
Oh yeah, there's
But like,
Space Force, Air Force.
yeah, all that shit. And
G-Force.
it's all yeah, G-Force, yeah.
I just making shit up now.
Yeah, no, it's just, like, random shit, yeah.
Yeah.
The but that whole area is all military, so if you're not military, it's kinda awkward at that point to be in that
Yeah,
area.
it's weird. I think the biggest thing is if you live west of I-25, which is where we had bought the house, like that's better because it tends to go like more because you have like Briargate and you have like all these different spots that are close to the Air Force Academy. Although, dude, one thing that's cool are the jets.
Oh, yeah,
Fucking
like
love
small flying
jets,
shit.
dude. I'm a huge World War II plane enthusiast.
They're cool, dude. That
Dude, they're fucking cool, dude.
think about everybody sitting around, like, you're sitting outside, you see a plane, whether it's a jet or like a regular carrier or whatever, everybody goes,
Mhm.
"Plane." Like, you just wanna look at it. They're just
Bro,
cool.
jets are. This is actually really. I just remembered something. And you're gonna notice my brain just fucking goes like everywhere. Um, I played this game called War Thunder, which is like a flight simulator for like World War I, World War II, and then they started getting to like the Cold War, I think. And I got so into it. This is like over 10 years ago, and I had like saved up all this money. Um, and I started to train to like become a pilot at Albert Whitted Airport down there, and because of the damn video game, dude. Like the video game made me want to fly
It
an
happens,
actual
man.
plane.
It happens.
Yeah, and I didn't finish. I wasn't able to finish. It was just it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Um,
Even the
but like,
pilots I work with, helicopter pilots right now,
mhm,
and, they always talk about, you transfer to the civilian world, it's pretty easy for them to switch to fixed wing, uh,
yeah,
and but they're like, "It is so expensive, and now the Army won't cover any of the training for you."
hmm
So, I know I completely get it. It's such a cool job, and it's even a cool hobby just to do on the side.
God, if you're rich,
Yeah, exactly, you gotta have the money.
God, it's so expensive, and so yeah, I don't know. I think that really got me into planes.
What, we went
Just
to a
fucking,
giant rabbit hole. You're out
bro,
there though.
planes, dude.
Yeah, planes though, prisons.
Planes and
That's
prisons,
that's what
dude.
I'm gonna label this as, is planes and prisons.
Planes and prisons.
What you get out to Colorado, and what are you doing at that point? Like, what, you got your kid and your wife there?
Yeah, yeah, and I was working for a lab out here that I recently left last month. So it's the first time I've been unemployed for like, God, dude, it's like a month. And so I've been kind of putting everything in the music thing. So I worked for that lab for like a couple, 3.5 years. Um, and then, yeah, I mean, just hiked a lot. A buddy of mine taught me how to mushroom forage, mountain biked, smashed my head on the, I'd always go mountain
Oh,
biking alone like a dumbass,
oh no.
which people do, but it's like, dude, it's way,
Yeah, but I've
yeah.
seen the videos of people eating shit out there, and even if you got a helmet on, I'm sure it's just terribly painful.
Yeah, yeah, totally. It's
What
fun.
a
But I bought that helmet because it was on Amazon. There's a guy that put a video up, like a review, and he's like, he literally is falling with the helmet on, and he fell fucking hard, dude. And I gotta find the link. It's really funny. Some Amazon reviews are so ridiculous. And he did a tester where he like fell over the handlebars and like hits his head on the ground, and he's like, it's like, fuck yeah, dude. I'll buy that
this seems
helmet.
great.
Yeah, it was like a $25 helmet too. It's so funny. It was so cheap.
Jesus.
Probably what mom knocked around.
Yeah.
Uh,
What did you stay consistent with playing your instrument and stuff, or did you kind of take a break from it a little while, or
yeah, I played in some bands when I was in my mid 20s, early to mid 20s. While I was doing the full time thing, and did some solo stuff with my friend Jeremy again that I mentioned before. Um, but it seemed to die out in my 20s a bit. Um, you know, for probably. personal relationship reasons and stuff, and which might have actually also kind of led to, because that's my ex-wife, led to that, right? Um, because there's always been this like burning thing in me to like do that, to do this, to be a full-time musician.
Yeah.
And I finally got the now it's, as soon as I got out of the marriage, it happened. Like
Yeah.
as soon as I got out, it was like, so I went like this. It was like through my 20s, and then literally like um probably by the time I was like 27, 28, around there, that might have been the last band I had played in. And then just nothing
Yeah.
for like
Yeah.
6 years
Damn.
until I got out of my marriage. And then, I moved to the cabin. I My buddy pushed me to like film TikTok videos and stuff like that, which I was like, dude, I don't know any of this shit works. I'm so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, dude,
Um,
I was telling people this. People think you could just throw stuff up or whatever. It is so fucking complicated. And I'm like, if I could do all of what I like to do, like this stuff, without the technology, I would do it in a heartbeat. But
yeah,
unfortunately, it's the
yeah,
way you kind of grow at this point.
I know. It's the weird part of it's way different than any other band I'd play. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do
So,
you get out of that, you move, talk to me about this cabin, because I saw videos of it. I'll have the link for your Instagram and stuff in the bottom, but uh
hmm
this cabin looks beautiful. It's looking over the mountains and stuff. I think it's
hmm
a log cabin or something, one of those
yeah,
ranch style ones.
it's got like a deer, like a mule deer, male mule deer antlers like on the front. I think it's mule deer.
How'd you get up with that place? How'd you figure that out?
So I don't know if you've ever been divorced, but like you go through this like kind of period. It's like kind of the first step is like you kind of like move out, typically.
Mhm.
So I moved out, and I was kind of like rushing, and there was a vegan diner called Ferns that's not there anymore. It closed like 2 fucking months as soon as I got there, which I know that vegan, like, a lot of people like kind of freak out about it, but dude, it's, well, not anymore probably, but it was so good, dude.
Yeah, I
Pancake,
think
like all the food was there.
I was gonna
It
say, I don't
was
think, of all the issues in the world right now, I don't think anyone gives a shit about vegans anymore.
vegans, yeah. They always got a bad, there's always a bad rap. And I didn't eat meat for like fucking 7 years until I got out of marriage. Bro, as soon as I got out of marriage, I was like, fucking cabin, everything I want to fucking do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Typical like
yeah.
fucking divorced dad shit. And so
You're blaring Creed, eating steak, and
oh, hell yeah, bro.
lighting up
Fucking Blair
cigarettes and
Creed.
shit.
Oh, yeah, dude. Creed was my first concert.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was like 1999 or 10 or something. My mom took me to Creed. Yeah.
That's peak Creed. Yeah.
Dude, I saw Creed at its peak, dude. Yeah, all these people are like fucking, yeah, Creed's big now. They got memed in there. I was like, no, dude, they've always been good. And I got shit talked on for liking Creed, dude, when I was a kid, or especially in high school. You like fucking Creed?
Leave it alone. They're fucking cool. Yeah.
And I was like 19, or when I got to college, I started dating this girl, and my aunt was like, okay, for your birthday, um, she's like, do you want to go to Incubus or Creed? And dude, I'm a fucking huge
Ooh.
Incubus fan, right? But I chose Creed.
In 1999 to
And I
2000,
took
that's
this
a hard
girl.
pick.
I took this girl to a fucking Creed. And my buddy Jeremy is like, no, you unironically went to a Creed show. And I'm like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Mark
And it was
Tremonti.
awesome.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. It was great. I was loving it. I think Stained opened.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I was just like, holy shit, dude. Yeah, that was Pete Creed, dude. But I forgot what we were talking about. We got to Creed and
Oh, we're talking about your cabin.
my
That's
cabin. Yeah, dude.
Creed.
Cabin. Dude, cabin
Planes,
leads to
man.
Creed.
Planes.
Planes.
Uh,
Yeah.
no, you're out there. So you're
Um,
out in this cabin by yourself, right? Or are you staying out there
mhm.
by yourself? Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. And so, moved out there, and I actually talked to, he just messaged me actually, a dude who he worked there, and I stopped there for the day, and I'm like, I gotta find a place to stay. And he's like, well, if you just drive around, because it's not an area where they post stuff. They don't want people that are
Y
not from like Colorado or like in the area. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not gonna put it on Zillow, they just want
Yeah.
people that are actually there looking
And
for it.
sometimes I see something on Zillow, but you just drive around, dude. They're pretty old school. And it was the first place. Because I had looked at apartments and I'm like, dude, this sucks. I was
Mm.
like over in Garden of the Gods area, and I was like, dude, this sucks. Like, I'm not, I can't do it. And then I realized I'm like, why am I like settling? Just fucking full send, dude. Like, to go where you want to live, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I ended up doing. And I've always wanted to live in a place like that. I finally had achieved it, right? You know what I mean? It just out of some not unfortunate, but just necessary circumstances.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how I got the cabin. I just drove up the road.
So,
Yep.
yeah, I love that damn cabin. Um,
Yeah.
what so me and my wife and kids, before we're in currently Kansas, but before we had Missouri, we lived there for 3 years.
Mm.
We had 5 acres, this old farmhouse. It had a three-sided barn and a garage and everything,
Oh
and
yeah.
we'd never realized how good we had it because we had, like, goats, chickens, ducks, and, like, all this shit going on, and we had to sell it, unfortunately, to move here because we
Hmm.
couldn't afford both, and now we're just chasing that dragon. We're like, "We gotta get back there." It's so
Dude, it's yeah. Once you hit it, and if you need the best of both worlds, you can have that in Colorado, and depending on where you live. But yeah, dude,
yeah.
it's
What,
wild.
what about your music? So you said you kinda once she left, you're jumping back into it. Full
Yeah.
send is it full send or
Yeah, I was full
yeah,
I mean, I had started to I'm not a banjo player, and I just picked up the tenor banjo from a dude down in old Colorado City. Super nice dude. And I, I had that. I was kind of noodling around on that, and guitar thing. I started to write music. I started to go out like a lot though. Like I was like, it was just crazy what happens in your brain after that type of thing happens. Because it was about a 13-year situation, so I was really young.
oh, man.
Yeah. Um, so you kind of like go back to being 21 again, and then you're like, wait, I'm not. And so, I was playing back at 21. That's what I was doing. I was playing a bunch of, music and stuff. My buddy convinced me to start a TikTok, which I did before Instagram, like right before Instagram. And just one hit, I guess. I guess that's how it works. He was telling me is like that's how it's gonna work. Like one just hits.
Damn.
And I had this image in my head for many, many years about just kind of playing music in nature, right? Which I was doing anyways, but I'm like, why don't I just film it? And then when I moved to the cabin, I'm like, dude, I don't even need to fucking go anywhere.
Just walk outside, start playing.
Just fucking walk outside,
Yeah.
bang out a video. Sometimes they take like 20 minutes. I just sit down. I don't know what I'm gonna play, and I'm just like, all right, whatever. Like that works.
Yeah.
Got to feed the algorithm of
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
they want,
What's gonna sell here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's really funny is I don't even remember what the intent was originally. I think it was more like just fun. You know what I mean? Like just kind of having fun. And then once like that took off, um, I had rechanged my personal Instagram to like a business account or business Instagram, and then I
Yeah,
started
yeah.
to post the same videos there, and I think it did way better on Instagram than it
Mhm.
did on. So that was interesting too. I'm like, you know, I guess like you can both platforms are kind of like,
Well, I think,
tied in, I guess, but I don't
I
know.
I don't have an Instagram, or I don't have an Instagram. I don't ha we talked on Instagram. I don't have a damn TikTok, because I just never really it took up your time and you're just, like, staring at shit, so I got rid of it, and I started this, and I connected it with my Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube and stuff and all that, but I never really grabbed back at the TikTok thing, but what I've noticed ever since that, shutdown or when they were gonna be like, "TikTok's gone forever,"
Hmm.
and then it was, like, 6 hours, and they were like, "Yeah, it's joke's on you." Um,
Yeah.
it seems like nobody. It seems like it's more focused now on Instagram. Like that's
Yeah.
how I feel. And then TikTok also seems like it has way more. I don't know if it's bots or just fake accounts or something
Hmm.
going on. I feel like it has that more going on with it. And it's less trustworthy, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas IG just seems like a little better about it. I don't know. I don't know if you feel like
Yeah,
that.
I don't know how any of that fucking witchcraft works.
Yeah. You throw it up and it's in the void.
Yeah, it's in the void. Yeah.
Yeah. You so you're doing that, you're getting a bit of following and stuff. Do you plan on like I know you on Spotify because I looked you up and you got one song on there right now. I believe it's Mist on the Mountain?
Yeah, Mist on the Mountain. Originally it was Mist because my buddy, I love him to death, but I think he got confused with the name. And he's the one who does the music distribution and um, all that stuff. So it was originally Mist, and then I was like, and then I'm like secretly, I'm like, just can you make the name right? You know what I mean? And he fixed it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
he's wonderful. He's my boy from back. We go back. We did hip hop together, which is
Oh,
another journey
oh
we
my
should
god.
go down.
Yes.
Yeah,
Tell me about that. Tell
dude,
me
I
about
fucking
it.
totally forgot about this, but it was a huge part of
Yeah.
everything. You know what I mean? And it was with Sammy. So yeah, I met Sammy when I was in middle school, and um, he, he was a rapper, and he was good, and everybody was freestyling and stuff. Like I was the beatboxer, dude. I totally forgot about that shit. I totally forgot. I didn't totally forget. I just it's a lot when you're asked about the music history thing, and then you're like, you did so much, and you're like, you don't fucking remember.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we did that, and all throughout high school, and he was the singer, he was in the ska band too. We had a little,
Of course. Of
or
course.
whatever you want to call it. Fucking. So um, when I was like 19, he had been doing stuff with another friend I grew up with. I met him, I hung out with him before Sammy. His name's Vinny, and they started something called the White Kids, which is funny because uh, Vinny's black, so it made it funnier. You
Oh
know what I
my
mean?
god.
That's why I think that's why Vinny did. Yeah,
All
Vinny's
funny.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's such a good rapper too. Oh my god. So, anyways, we started to do this weird shit where we did like guitar and beats and things like that. So there'd be like there'd be like a trap beat or some shit like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And you're
just like
playing
throw a
guitar over
guitar
that?
over it. And like
Yeah.
I was doing this like weird high pitched singing shit that I don't think I can do anymore. Like the Bee Gees or Leo Sayer. I don't know if you know that. Uh
Not Leo Sayer, but I know
you
him.
make me feel like dancing from the
Oh,
some of that disco shit, dude. I was doing that like high pitched whatever mixed with my voice. And I don't know, it just I think people liked it. We played some of the trying to think of the bigger ones. Sammy will probably if he watches this, he's gonna correct me, but it's fine. Um like open for a bunch of different people and there would be really big crowds. Like I remember we did Janice one. That was weird. Janice Landing down in St. Pete. Um, but I remember the Ying Yang twins were the. I'll just keep it to one. the Ying, it was the White Kids and the Ying Yang twins, right? And I used to wear a top hat, right? That was like my fucking
uh,
thing. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. I think I watched
News
Gangs of
Flash.
New York once, and I
Yeah.
was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"That's it, dude. I'm fucking wearing the top hat." So when I was in San Francisco, the top hat addiction started. I don't know how that happened, but um, yeah. So I had this top hat, and I can't remember which of the dudes. I think it's the guy who has cerebral palsy. I think one of them has cerebral palsy, and I could be wrong, but I think one of them has something going on.
One of the Ying Yang twins does?
Yeah, and I think I gave
Oh,
him the hat
yeah.
because I'm like, but then I wanted the hat back. He wasn't happy about it. Sammy needs to figure out what that. I need to have him review this because I think that's how the story went, but that's what I remember.
The Ying
But
Yang twins wouldn't give you your top hat back.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because what the fuck, that was so wild. But yeah, that was like an example of
Yeah.
Travie McCoy from Gym Class Heroes.
Oh yeah.
Just all, yeah, Currency was a rapper down there. Just
Oh
kind of,
yeah. No Currency too.
yeah, we
You
opened for
played with all these
Currency.
guys.
Yeah, the White Kids opened for them, and what I would do is, sorry, I was plugging this little thing.
No, you're good. That's
We
awesome.
It was Sammy and Vinny's like brainchild, and then I just came along and did like guitar and stuff like that, and then we recorded a lot of songs. Um, so I was like 19, 20, I think, around that time. And there's something good I was gonna tell you, and it completely just fucking took off like a plane.
Yeah.
Took off like a
Call
plane,
back.
landed in prison. Yeah, there you go. Fucking a plane smashing into a
That
prison.
was the greatest ever, though. You're just like, oh yeah, by the way, I was a part of a rap group for a couple of years.
Dude,
Yeah.
no, you actually, yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh,
So that was wild. That was fun. And then I did play music with Sammy actually throughout that before I got married, before the marriage.
yeah.
And and I remember, you know, getting caught between like the career thing and like doing the music because I would go. But he booked a show with um, Ali Shaheed Muhammad from Tribe Called Quest.
Oh shit. Yeah.
I think it's Ali Shaheed Muhammad. Yeah, I always mess this thing. But yeah, we played and Adrian Young, and then they had a project together, him and Adrian Young, and we opened for them, and it was the same thing. We had, it was hip hop with, it was different, but because Sammy's evolved over time significantly, as I have. But yeah, and that was, so I was actually doing. It's funny, I was doing a little bit of guitar work and singing for hip hop. So because of Sammy, really. I mean, that was why I was doing it. So,
Yeah.
um,
I love that. And it shows your broad, um, I guess, spectrum of music where you're going from,
oh yeah, dude, I just like
rock
doing, yeah,
stuff, you're doing rap, you're doing bluegrass, you're doing all
yeah.
this stuff.
It's just fun. I don't want to get pigeonholed as like some guy. Like I know the Western thing is like really, people, like that. I actually did the handlebar mustache as like a, manic post divorce thing because I used to have, dude, I had a fucking beard for like 8 years.
Oh,
Dude,
really?
I couldn't even, oh yeah, and it was like a scraggly, it was big. It was like I was trying to become a wizard, dude. I still want to be a wizard, but
You're
because
getting
I
there. You're out in
fucking
the mountains
love
down
World of
here.
Warcraft. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I had a beard. So the handlebar mustache and the mountains and all that stuff. And so it's like, there's like some image thing that people, but I just been playing whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, I mean,
This is
no,
fun.
it's yeah. George Strait, I learned, started out in a punk rock band in Hawaii. So it's like
Yeah.
people don't people think all these guys just get these images of like what's his name? Zach Top, who's like super big right now. He started out doing strictly bluegrass stuff, and
Hmm.
he's more of a guitar player and banjo player than anything. Yeah, you can't pigeonhole yourself with music, even if people like think that's what you were, or if
Hmm.
it blows up, that's not necessarily your entire life or anything.
No, yeah, it's not. I just, all my stuff's like all over the place. Like a
Yeah.
1920s, like Annette Hanshaw, fucking all these different like artists from I listen to all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Django
funny.
Reinhardt's so good. Yeah.
It's so fun to go back and you go from. I mean, I'll have well Spotify. I, I don't know if I can talk shit on them on here. They'll flag it, but the
It's true.
I love the I love going from like traditional old school country music, like outlaw country with Waylon and Merle and all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
But then,
totally.
but then I go to like the 50s and 60s R&B groups, and then I go to like 90s like Soundgarden and fucking like Metallica and shit. But it's almost like the Creed shit. Just because people say like, "Oh, these guys suck." No, you're mostly saying they suck because like everyone else is saying they suck. I don't know where all that comes from. I guess it's like the pop charts and shit.
Bro,
But
I think they invented I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I think I remember an old friend of mine and I were in college. I was like we were listening to like What If, right, from that Human Clay album. And we're like, dude, I think it sounds like all the southern metal bands that came out in like 2000, the 2000s, right? That decade. I'm like, dude, I think Creed I think Creed fucking invented southern metal with this one song. Because it sounds like he is not he is legend, Maylene and the Sons of Disaster and stuff like that. I was that was shit was so big. The dude they used to sing for Under Oath, yeah.
Dave Grohl talks about that with Nirvana. He was like, people think it was so original and stuff, but he's like, if you listen to the drum noises, it's from bands like The Gap
In the
and
70s,
the funk music, because
the
it's like,
funk era, yeah.
yeah, like that not a disco beat, but like a funk beat to it. And I'm like, that is so fucking funny, but it shows how
Yeah.
musically inclined he is.
Yeah, yeah, the diversity. Yeah, I think he told that dude. I think Dave Grohl told that drummer, "I've been ripping you off for years."
Yeah, yeah,
And the guy's like, "I know." And he told him. I think he told him
yeah.
when
Well,
he finally
drumming's
met
such a
him.
hard thing. I feel like guitar, I mean, obviously there's some play on older styles, but with drum, you can only hit a drum so many times a certain way because it doesn't have a billion different tones, but uh there's a lot of callbacks to other types of music.
Dude, I that's why I recommend people listen to Hella because like that math, like drumming is fucking crazy. It's so crazy. I think his name's Zach Hill. I could be wrong, but my friend will probably correct me if he watches this.
Where where do you see yourself going with the music right now? You kind of are you working on like an album to put out or anything, or where do you want it to go?
Right now, I'm gonna be doing. Y- my buddy Sammy is like a visual. He likes it whenever music comes out with like a video, right, or something associated with it, art, whatever. And I've kind of been catching on to that, like for the future of what I want to do. And in order to do that, it's like you have to just keep releasing singles, because you want to give it like your all on the full package, right?
Yeah.
I didn't do that with Mist on the Mountain, right? That was like more like getting an original song out. But depending on what does really well on Instagram and people ask me to put it on Spotify, I'm gonna be doing covers like the next one that's released, and it should be very soon. It's got a video associated with it, and it's a cover that got big on social media. And then I recorded another one because I don't know, people. I was throwing stuff at the wall, and so I'm just gonna go that route, like original cover, things like that, right? And yeah, Glumlot actually did the video. That dude on Instagram. Uh,
Okay.
he, I'm a huge fan of like liminal AI stuff that's done right, like because AI is a medium, right? A lot of people are shitting on AI art, right? But it's a medium. It's another medium, you know.
I like that description of it. It's a medium, but it's not necessarily the full artist.
Art,
It's
yeah, art takes shape in many, many forms, right? I mean, in those forms are mediums, right? That's what they are. So, I think over time it's going to get, you can see when somebody's really good with AI versus not. There is a skill, like
yeah.
I've noticed. And Glumlot is like, that dude is incredible. And the direction of what I want to be going in is like a dark what, like get away from like the natural whatever and just be like, no, I'm going full fucking dark, like some of the songs that like Lead Belly had, things like that. um so that's kind of the direction I'm going to be going because that's naturally what I like it's Halloween in my soul, dude. That's why I started to cover the Misfits,
Yeah.
because I've loved the Misfits since I was in middle school. And you know, I even flew out to Denver with my friend Jeremy to see them over a weekend when it was like Doyle, uh, uh, Jerry Only, and Danzig. Like I was like, dude, fucking, We flew out for that. I never fly out to a show, dude. I think that might have been the only show I've flown out to was the
Damn.
Misfits. Yeah.
So they were like a big impact on you and stuff, and you like that kind of dark, not not hardcore. You like that darker, um, I guess you'd call it maybe gothic punk style, I guess, or
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of the gothic and like, I'm not obviously I don't, I'm not a goth, but I am in my soul.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't physically appear that way, but like inside of me, I'm like, think about all the bands, the metal, post-hardcore, music, that shaped me. Ozzy Osbourne, I mean, I literally, my son, is, you know, his, I'm not going to give his full name, obviously, but I'm so into that shit that I named my son essentially after the Prince of Darkness and then his guitarist, Randy Rhoads.
nice.
That's on my forearm. So Randy Rhoads was a huge influence of mine. So that classical metal type, class, when you're taking classical guitar and implementing it into metal, was just so awesome to me. And uh, the dude, I just crashed and burned. I was trying to think of, um, oh yeah, and I started out with the classical guitar, and then I moved to an
Oh yeah,
electric guitar.
yeah.
Yeah, um, so I don't know, it just kind of fit with with Ozzy, and yeah, I love him so much. I love the Prince of Darkness so much that now it's a legacy in my family with the
Do do you?
Ozzy.
I think everybody has that though. With like, there's certain bands that they. My family's running joke is my dad was a huge Eagles fan, as one should be, and he
Yeah, I see the shit.
yeah, and no,
Oh
this
no,
is
but you
from
have it, dude. You
this
have
is
a
from my high school. This
you,
is a
you
high
have
school.
it, yeah, but you have it in two. I was gonna say, I don't know if you were, you have, the Eagles, the band, and then you had the shirt on. That's the team,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
oh, this
This
whole,
is just a high school T-shirt. That's fucking hilarious, though.
yeah.
My no, he was just a huge Eagles fan, and uh, every time as a kid. I mean, this is like since I was like 8, probably. It would
Hmm.
come on the radio, Hotel California, and he would start like belting it out and shit, and be like, "Do you ever think of how fucked up they were when they wrote this song?" And like as a kid, I'm like, I guess because this sounds weird as shit to me. And then you look at the lyrics. Then you get older and you realize the lyrics, and you're like, yeah, this is kind of deep.
Yeah.
Is this purgatory? What's going on? And then you learn the history of the Eagles, and it's
Hmm.
like this crazy amalgamation. But I feel like everybody has that base foundation of their music, and then it branches from there to everything. Because like truly love like stupid shit like yacht rock and stuff. I think like Hall and Oates and stuff were
I don't
just
know why. Do you
Little
know where
Feat
that came from? Because that was never called that, like
the
back in
yacht
the
rock.
day.
I
Is that
thought it
like
was
that's
just
a
soft
newer
rock.
thing, right?
Wasn't it supposed to be? It was just soft rock, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like I guess people, yeah, like Steely Dan got like looped into that, and I'm
Which is
like,
really
how
weird
do?
because Steely Dan, there's only like 2 or 3 songs that they're known for that you would play really during all that, and the rest of it's kind of
Yeah,
they
I
would
don't.
call it jam band, but it's like just soft
They were
rock.
progressive, yeah.
Yeah, but I think
They were
it came
progressive.
from like my uncle. He influenced me a shit ton with music, and um, he had we called it a mini yacht. It was one of those that like it had a
Yeah, it's
we would go visit. We are like white trash kids and stuff. We'd go
not
visit
just
him.
a yacht, but just enough to call it a yacht.
Dude, I mean, it had the bed. It had like the full bathroom and kitchen and shit, like mini
Hmm.
ones in there. And then you go up top, and he had like a whole speaker system and everything.
Oh
So
yeah.
it was close, but it just wasn't like, oh, take the schooner aboard, that type of shit.
Hmm.
But I do remember on that specifically, he played like that type of music all the time.
Hmm.
But I also think that was just people from the 70s becoming like 70s and 80s becoming successful, and that was the
Hmm.
music they liked. So
Yeah.
that's like a whole freakonomics thing you could probably dig down to see where it
Yeah.
came from. But
Yeah. Totally.
I love all that type of shit. Like the fact that you did all that different style of music, that makes it cooler that now, like, because all I've seen so far was your bluegrass type stuff, and I can't wait to see
Mhm.
you like do covers and see where like your inspiration comes from.
Yeah, yeah. That's what kind of what I've been pulling from is like just that bank of all the past, like the entirety of like my life as a musician, and just that, putting that out there, like just recording what, maybe meant something to me. Um, and nobody might give a shit, you know what I mean? Like people might not care or whatever, but that I'm not, I'm doing it for myself because I kind of like to adapt songs over to my own, you know, the surf thing was really big. Just adapt songs over and do it within my own little style or whatever.
Sure.
Those songs that I liked. Yeah, the Cute Without the E with Taking Back Sunday was a huge stretch. Yeah, I did that one. I mean, at least they reposted it. I thought that was kind of cool.
I
Um,
gotta see that one. I didn't see that one. That's a really good song to cover.
yeah, it was not good. I was like not in a good mood. I think when typically when you listen to that type of music, you're usually not in a good mood. But
Well, it's like you said, you're recently divorced, and you got to go
yeah,
down these alleyways. Obviously, you
oh,
got
bro,
to.
you gotta feel it. You just gotta feel the process. You know what I mean? It's not
I
easy. It
oh,
ain't
that's
easy,
what I was
but
going to tell you about when we were talking about different styles of music. When I was, I had to be, I guess I'd have been probably 10 or 12, maybe older. I guess 12 or 14. I got um, for Christmas. They gave me a Temptation CD, double sided or a double CD of all their stuff. But then I also got the My Chemical Romance, or the Black Parade album. I'm like, that's the shit that your foundation's built on. So like, while I do love me some I Wish It Would Rain, I also love Helena like crazy, and I will belt it every time it comes on. Like,
you remember a lot of times, like it's like when you get tattooed, you remember where you were. Well, I mean, I do for some reason,
I do for
except a
all of
couple
my
of them
things.
that I don't remember for a good
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
But with music, sometimes it happens, right? A lot of the times, like I'll hear Pachuca Sunrise from, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, from like Minus the Bear, and I was like 18, 19, in my dorm with like the girl I dated at the time. Remember that?
Yeah.
I
We
remember. You just remember that stuff, I guess.
I was in a music fraternity briefly in college called Phi Mu Alpha, and it was specifically a music fraternity for like a lot of us band. I was in the marching band, and then it was a lot of like the
Hell
music
yeah, dude.
stuff. Yeah. And I thought I knew music. No, it was like a whole nother second coming for me of like these guys there. I can't get too deep into it, I guess, but they had a ceremony where basically you listened to a lot of music that was important to the members at that point.
Hmm.
Like everybody picked a song and you're listening to it in the dark. It was kind of gay, whatever. And you're like, they played Adagio for strings, which I don't know if you know that song, but it's a instrumental piece. Um,
It's a
it's
classical piece, right?
classical piece and it's used in a shit ton of movies.
Hmm.
But now I only remember it from Platoon. But like it, because it plays at the beginning and the end of Platoon, because it's such a powerful piece. It builds and builds and
Is it
builds.
the one that's like? No, no, that's a different one.
No, let's
Sorry,
hear. I was like, I want to
I'm
hear.
not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing
Let me hear your rendition of a classical piece
it.
with your mouth. Yeah.
I can't.
Um,
I can't.
no, but they played that, and then they played like Bon Iver, stuff like that, and it was all very deep melodical songs that made you think, and then you develop. One I feel like once you go to college, and like you said, once you do that, and then you're getting on your own, and you're still involved in music, you
Mhm.
kind of stop giving a shit what the pop hits are, and you kind of look for
Oh yeah.
I like this I feel like you probably learned that earlier on. It took me a little while, and you you're kind of like, okay, I like this kind of music. I'm gonna look for other artists like this, which Spotify was really good for that. Like, and
Yeah, the algorithms have improved over time.
yeah, and I love that though. You find like you like listening to you, like stuff like that. You hear it and you're like, oh yeah, I like this kind of stuff, and then it builds on itself over time. It's really good.
Hmm.
Yeah. Who I was gonna ask. How do you feel about like with music going forward right now? Sometimes a lot of it feels like it's a cog in the machine at this point. Like it's just churning out stuff. Like whether it's pop, country, rock, especially
Mhm.
rock, I feel like is getting super played out. It's not nothing original. But how do you feel about that? Do you think it's going to get better, or do you think we're kind of at a lag or anything?
I don't know if I can speak to how, like, because I know there's a lot of people that, I mean, social media is pretty much that's, all they do. And like they put out music and like they might, I don't, my thing and a good friend of mine is the, is Evan Breen. That's a long story.
Yeah.
But a good friend of mine is Evan Breen. He's like the original like Vine guy.
Oh wow.
Um, And, I would get conflicting information from people about, how often should you post? And I'm kind of like, I'm going to post whenever I kind of feel it. And
Yeah.
you kind of get burnt
Yes.
out from like you know what I mean? Like, kind of just do it whenever.
Yeah, these stupid hit times they say that helps and stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna throw this up there and hopefully it
yeah,
sticks. Like,
I'm not good at any of that shit, to be honest with you. So that's kind of, I don't know if so I just basically like put out, I'm following some processes that you need to follow. And you have to, I think, if, you're gonna make it a career, right?
sure,
Um, but yeah, so I think with the future, I think I don't know what the future will be. The only for everybody, I think I can only think about how I can manifest the future, and I will just keep kind of playing whatever I want to play. If it does well and people want to cover, I'll record the cover. I'll play shows, um, things like that. Those will be the things that kind of keep me going. And I think as an artist, you always hate the thing you just did, and you're moving on to the next thing, right? You're like, oh, fucking, all right, yeah, it's done. Um, uh, I think like that'll keep me going at least. And I think there's, I don't know if I follow a lot of people that do the pumping stuff out thing. I've noticed that it's like younger. I mean, I'm not old, but younger than me, artists that are more in tune with how the system works. I think they kind
yeah,
of post more frequently, and it works for them. There's some things that other people do though that I'm like, it's just not me, so I don't do it, right?
yeah,
And that's probably how I'll always operate. I mean, you get better at saying no as you get older.
yes,
Fuck off,
yeah.
So.
I think it's hard with maybe not hard. It's a young man's game definitely because you can in
Mhm.
your early 20s too. A lot of these kids are there's no more reinforcement of get out of the house and move on. A lot of them can come back to a household that's going to support them, whether it's doing a social media career, which sounds batshit crazy to me and you, but now it's kind of it it works sometimes, and you gotta
Mhm.
if that's your following, that's your following. Um, but I like that. I like your aspect as well, where it's like I'm just gonna put this out, and I really like if people follow it, people follow it. You said you're done with that job. Are you looking to go back to a job, or are you trying to make this like your full time gig? Or
So I have to provide for, my two children and stuff like that. So having that like professional career thing is there, but I'm starting to kind of challenge myself and like do this full time, right? See if I can pull it off. Because it's like with anything in any industry, it's like you might only get one chance.
yeah,
So, I mean, this could be the one chance. I mean, it happened 30 some odd year, 20 some odd years later. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of, yeah, how I feel about it.
yeah. I'm excited to see where you're gonna go, Sam. I think I think what you're doing is honest, at least. A lot of people get into it for the wrong reasons, but I can tell
Yeah,
from your story that you have a lot of passion behind what you're doing. So I can't wait
yeah.
to see where it goes.
Thanks, man. Yeah, me neither. Who the fuck knows what's gonna happen?
Sure, man. This might only hit 2 people or 2,000. Who knows
Yeah,
what's going to happen.
I'll
Um,
just keep doing, the stuff I kind of want to do, and not, letting anybody kind of tell me what to do. I mean, it's very libertarian of me.
and well, that's fine.
No, I was kidding. It's very,
Yeah.
um, I still will always have that fuck you to the man in me. You know what I mean? You're never going to get it out. And you're never going to get the Florida part out of me either. I wear like fucking Tevas or Teva. We call them Tevas. Like Teva sandals, like in the snow and shit like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's we in Missouri everybody wears shorts and a hoodie even if it's like 10 degrees out. You just
Yeah.
walk around in it. Yeah. And that's where you get your hair and your mustache from too, is that Florida in you truly is coming
Yeah,
through,
yeah. Dude, I mean, fucking, I grew up where Hulk Hogan lives,
Hell yeah,
like in the
brother.
same city. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes to get his haircut, I think, at my best friend's girlfriend's place. Sounded like Spaceballs just now. But um yeah, dude, fucking Hulk Hogan. Yeah, I feel like I'm almost slowly turning him into him
Yeah.
without the muscles and the
You start
whatever.
you start ripping your shirt open on your
How many times I say hell yeah, brother, like all the time, and I'm just
and,
like, holy
and
shit,
there's
dude.
no true amount that's wrong either. You can say hell yeah, brother, to truly everything.
I know, but WWF, WWE, N64, dude, those games, like the fucking N64 games of the wrestling, like, dude, the 90s were just, they were great, dude.
Instrumental. Instrumental in my childhood.
Yeah,
I, w-
dude.
I tried telling my fucking Donkey Kong 64. I
Mm,
was truly obsessed with this game. I don't know why, but and I didn't have a memory. I didn't have a memory thing. You needed a
mm.
memory thing for it.
Oh, dude. Oh, I got a good
Dude,
story about that.
I so I would just leave my N64 on, I would play all night, just leave it on running all night, hop back on before school, leave it running during school, and then
And
hop
it
back on.
kept going, dude.
Those things don't break. They're
Fucking diesel engine, dude.
yeah, and now the PS I had a PS4. Those things are sound like a jet engine taking off when they're like
Dude,
running for a while. It's like
dude.
now it's like, but back then it was like these things will run for 3 months. Just
Mhm.
leave it there. It's so funny. What were you gonna say?
3 months. No, dude, you were a lot smarter than me. What I did
No,
was,
I'm
I think I was,
fucking not. You have a
when I
master's
was a,
in
when I
microbiology.
was I'll never forget. I think it was like the game Croc, or no, it was Spyro. It was on
Ooh,
PlayStation 1, yeah.
oh yeah,
First PlayStation. And I didn't have a memory card, and I didn't realize that that's what you needed. And it didn't take until like a little bit, because I didn't have anybody in my family that played video games. Like, I
yeah.
was the only,
Same,
I'm a
same.
gamer,
Yeah.
whatever. It's like an acorn is glued to the bottom of my torso. Fucking um no, I didn't have anybody in the family, so I had friends that had dads that like played video games. Like my friend Corbin, his dad was huge into video games, and he's like, "Son, you need a memory card," because I kept playing it and I'd shut it off. Like, I'd play for hours and I'd
And
shut
then
it
it's
off,
like
and then
brand
I'm
new,
like,
right?
"What the fuck is going on?" There's no memory card in
So
here.
annoying.
Do I keep? So Spyro, I never was able to beat, but damn, I was really good at the beginning.
They had that with oh, there was this stupid N64 Star Wars game, and it wasn't the Pod Racer one. It was like the one
Oh
where you were a
god,
guy running. Do you know what I'm talking
love the
about?
Pod Racer one. No, I don't. I
Oh,
love the Pod Racer
th-
one. Sorry.
this other one, it was just I don't even know the storyline behind it. Apparently, the game's worth a shit ton now, but you were like this mercenary that ran around on planets, and you did a bunch of shit. It didn't save ever, and it was the hardest fucking game ever. So I would get to a point that I was like about to beat it, And
Hmm.
then my parents would be like, "Hey, we're going to St. Louis for 3 days," and I'm like, "God damn it,
Yeah, I
no!"
know.
Oh,
My mom threw the computer out when I was playing too much World of Warcraft. She was like hiding it all over the house. No, yeah, dude, that's so frustrating when
yeah,
you don't save, or now it's just like constant saving with everything, auto
yeah,
save. I'm not, dude, that's new. That's like not that was not as common back in the day, dude. You're manually fucking saving everything, and if you
yeah,
forget, dude, I love how we're acting like that is old
yeah.
people
I
shit.
was. I mean, think about that. That's 20 some years.
Back
20.
in my day.
Yeah, make it a hit of here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine. No, that's good. We'll end on that. And on a positive note of us being old geezers, keeping up with the times.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much for coming on here, Sam, and sharing your story. And I can't
Yeah.
wait to hear more music come out from you. And I'll have the
Thanks for
links in
having
the
me, man.
bottom. I'll have everything you want down there. And yeah, thank you for coming on.
Of course, man. Thanks for the free therapy. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Thanks guys
Yeah.
for listening. We'll see you next time.